Hello, beautiful people. Today I'm going to be making a baby doll out of a sock. So I have socks that I got at the Dollar Tree. I got white, and I also purchased these gray and green socks. So we're going to start with the white sock first. Now, I have this filler. It's white, and I'm going to use this for the head. So I'm going to scrunch it up, and just so you know, instead of buying polyfill in, a bag at the Walmart or whatever, it costs so much money. What I do is I buy a pillow, and then I use what's in the pillow, and the pillows go for like $2 at Walmart. So I'm going to stick all of this up here and mold it around, and then I'm going to cut right about here for my head, but I want to mold it around. So now I'm going to get my scissors and cut right about here. So you want to have the opening with some extra so you can sew it. So I have my needle and thread right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to pull it right away. I'm going to take the needle and put it through and pull, but I don't want to tighten it all the way up. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the string and putting it through, but I'm not pulling it tight yet. So I'm going to continue putting the needle through and pulling the string through the thread, and continue all the way around just like that, and pull it through. And I'm going to continue around my entire sock. Now that I've gone all the way around, I'm going to tuck this in just like that and pull so that it's stuck inside. And I'm going to add some more stitches here so that it will be secure for my baby doll. So once you feel it's secure enough, tie it off, and then we're going to work on the body. So I'm going to put a couple knots in here as close to where I started sewing. Okay. I'm going to cut the thread off, and here's my head. Just like that. shape her little head for our baby doll. So here it is. Now I'm going to take the sock, and before I do that, I'm going to put knots in my thread again. So I have my sock, and I'm going to cut it right about here. So it would be the third gray line area. So I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to put this aside. Then I'm going to take my sock and turn it inside out. Very fluffy on the inside. Now I'm going to take it and I want to lay it down with the heel in the back. So here's the heel, and I'm going to lay this down, and I have my green marker, and I'm going to make little legs. So I'm going to draw. I want a little bit here to make her little legs. Right like that. Here's her legs. And the heel is right back here. So here's her little legs. And here's my needle and thread, and I am going to start sewing on my line that I painted. So basically I'm going to sew all around where I drew the little feet on. So now that these are sewn, see, a little space in between, I'm going to cut in between here and down here. You don't want to cut where you've sewn, so be careful. Try to get off the excess. So once you cut off everything, then you're going to turn it right side out and push your little feet through, just like that. There's your little feet, because you want little feet for your little baby doll. So I have green fluff, and I'm going to use this here because I couldn't use it on the white because it would have shown through. So I'm going to put the fluff in the feet. See the little feet? So I started stuffing my little baby doll, and I'm going to cut right here below the first teal line. Then I'm going to sew all of this, like I did earlier, I'm just going to take the needle and put it through and not pull yet. And then once I'm done sewing it, I'm going to work on patting it down, making it rounder, my baby doll. So right now I am just putting the needle through with the thread. I'm going to pull it, not just yet. So I'm just going to sew around the entire baby doll. Whoops, she jumped off the table. And work on sewing her. So I'm going to continue with the needle and thread all the way around, like I said. And then once I have it all the way around, I'm going to give it a nice tug and tuck it in. Just like that. And I'm going to continue sewing it to make sure that it's totally firm, and then I'm going to work on shaping her little body. Here's the toe part of the sock that's going to be her hat, and here is her head. So I am going to put her little hat on just like this. Oh, I'm going to make sure, let me see. I don't like this here, this line. So I'm going to put her little hat on right here. Just like that. And then I'd like to do her eyes, but I'd like her eyes to be closed. So I have black thread on my needle. Black thread, and I am going to try not to mess this up. That's for doggone sure. I'm going to start here, and I want to have her little eyes closed. So basically, I'm just going back and forth in this area to do her little eyes. Her little itty bitty eyes. I'm going to get rid of this, but for right now, while I'm doing her little eye, I'm going to keep, oops, sorry, keep that right there. So once I'm done with this eye, I'm going to go do the other eye. See how it looks? And I am going to tie this off and then do the other eye, and I'm going to sew her little hat to her head, and then I'll be back. Here's her little head, and it has her little hat on and gave her little closed eyes. So now I'm going to take some white yarn and I'm going to wrap it around two of my fingers about 20 times. And I cut it, take my fingers out, and I'm going to take this piece of yarn and wrap it around and tie it. Going to put it in a knot, make sure it's tight, and then once that's done, I'm going to cut all the little hoops on both sides. Roll it in a little ball and then cut it. And end up with a little ball like this. Then I'm going to take my needle and thread, put my little pom-pom on top, and sew it onto my hat. So I'm just taking the needle and thread through my little pom-pom to secure it to my hat. I'm going to tie it in a knot. Cut it off and poof up my little ball for the hat. Here she is. Now I'm going to sew her onto her body. Doesn't she look like a little glowworm? I think she looks like a little glowworm. So now we're going to make her arm. So with the last remaining piece of the sock, I cut it in half and I sewed it on here, and then I added some of the filling, the polyfill, to make the arm. So I'm just going to, I want to make it the same as this one. I'm going to fold this over and sew it, and then sew around here, and then I'm going to start sewing it to her body, and then fill it with some of the polyfill. So I'm going to sew it and then come back and show you how I fill it with the polyfill. So I'll be right back. So I sewed the little arm right here, and I'm going to fill it with the filling. Just like that, and then I'm going to sew it down. So she has her little hands there. So I'm going to sew this down. And as I do it, I'm just going to keep tucking and rolling to get her little hand done. Now I'm going to add a little bit of blush to my little lovely lady here. So I have blush. It's Wet n Wild. And just need a little to put on her little cheekies. And there you have it, your baby doll. Isn't she adorable? Thank you so much for stopping by Glorious Crafts to see how to make this sock baby doll. I think she's adorable. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.